the Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Now, let me tell you that the drivers that made up a lap, including Ernie Irvan, the 3-car of Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte, and Jeff Bodine.
And there we see Bob Shack's car. They got the car started. Now he's come to a stop again at the start-finish line, so they got to get a wrecker out to push him up. And we see the Goodyear tires, the yellow. The Goodyear now is in yellow instead of the white we've seen for the last 15 years. So if you see these cars going down a racetrack and see yellow paint, it didn't come off of another race car. It came off. The tires are now yellow.
Here's Jerry Punch.
Guys, answering your question, Davey Allison did change just 2 tires, 2 right side tires. That'll explain that quick pit stop. And also explaining Alan Kulwicki's problem. He does not have first gear, as you heard Danny Glad say. And remember, NASCAR rules prohibit a crew from pushing a car out of the pits. It's a safety move, but NASCAR will allow you to push a car if you've lost a gear. And they've now given the Kulwicki crew a chance to push their car out of the pits, and that probably saved Kulwicki maybe 5 or 6 seconds getting the car moving here on this pit stop.
Well, they were holding Bob Shack's car at the starting line. It did not stall. They were just holding it until the field came around. So we are still under our 3rd caution of the day, and we'll return with more live action right after these messages. Okay, Lynn, I'm going to give you some of this stuff. I'm going to give you Gillette, SeaWorld, and all of these. These are the promos.
One to go.
Who does?
Here you go.
I don't need it right now, but I've lost my pencil already. It's gone. It is history. The final race for King Richard Petty and the decision on who wins the Winston Cup Championship for 1992 here today at the Hooters 500, live from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, Chevrolet, and your local Chevy dealer. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires. Well, the number 11 car of Bill Elliott, the 7 car of Alan Kulwicki, and the 28 car of Davey Allison, the top 3 in the points, have now each led a lap, and so each has picked up the 5 bonus points.
So
they're back where they started.
They're right back where they started. Exactly.
Here comes the restart now. The green flag waves.
And Jimmy Hensley's in 2nd place. The Trump Arctic Ford.
Mark Martin 3rd, Harry Gant 4th, and Elliott is 5th.
Here comes Kyle Petty, the mellow yellow Pontiac, trying to get a lap back, trying to get by Davey Allison.
Kyle, of course, was one of those drivers that made a green flag pit stop just before the 2nd caution came out. Dale Jarrett right there, he also was one of those drivers. But Mark Martin's going to take care of both of them, fellas.
Ahead of Davey Allison, trying to get that lap back. We're watching from Mark Martin's car as he tries to take the lead.
Kyle Petty gets by Davey Allison. Moves up in front of him, and now here comes Martin trying to take the lead back. Kyle Petty is 5th in points. Martin is 6th in points.
So they're involved in a battle of their own somewhat, although again Kyle is now at the tail end of the lead lap, the lap that Mark Martin leads.
15 points separating the two, Kyle Petty and Mark Martin.
Harry Gant now is 3rd, just behind Davey Allison.
Okay, Harry looks pretty racy right there at the moment.
Here comes Earnhardt. He's still a lap down, but he's mowing him down. He's by Hensley.
And there's Ricky Rudd in the 5 car. The 66 of Hensley and Jeff Gordon in 24. This is the car that Jeff will be running all year next year. The same colors, DuPont. And by the way, Jeff Gordon has a $100,000 bonus if he can win this race today. Morgan Shepherd slowing from the roof cam. You can see how the car is not on pace.
No, he's way off the pace, Bob. He's heading into turn number 3 there right now. You see how far the leaders are out in front of him. Here's Davey Allison now trying to move around Kyle Petty. Mark Martin already put Kyle that lap down.
And Harry Gant, who was reported to be suffering from the flu, does not appear to be suffering all that much. He's running a strong 3rd.
And he and Kyle Petty are 1 point apart. Ganson's 4th, Kyle Petty 5th in the point standings, and only 1 point separating the two.
And it's a difference at the banquet of $35,000.
Oh, that's nothing.
Maybe not in your world it isn't, but
the difference in 1st and 2nd is 670. Oh, a crash down the front straightaway.
Ken Schrader, Wally Dallenbach,
Darrell Waltrip's involved.
And Richard Petty is flaming going into turn number 1.
He's knocked the oil cooler off his car, and the oil is on fire.
Richard Petty, the car is on fire. Petty has got the car stopped.
Get her in the fucking park.
It'll go out.
Fire extinguisher.
It'll go out. That was Richard yelling to his crew, get a fire extinguisher down here.
Yeah, they got there. I pulled up to the fire truck.
Richard said, I pulled to the fire truck.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great presence of mind, right?
And what a way for the career of Richard Petty to end. Let's not say right now, though, that his race is over. They could get the car back going, but I doubt it.
Once again, Bill Elliott got through a crash. I didn't see what happened to the crash. I just looked up and saw stuff flying.
Yeah, Bill was up in front of it.
Davey Allison was in front of the crash. Should have been about mid-pack, I guess, because Dick Tripp, one of the cars in the crash, was running 10th before the crash. There's Darrell Waltrip. We can see some heavy damage to the Western Auto Chevrolet.
Now the 3 cars here on the main straightaway and into turn 1 are Dick Trickle, Ken Schrader, and Wally Dallenbach, and then Richard Petty's car is down in the turn as there is the King out of the car. And this may be the final farewell.
But thank God he was able to walk away from it and wave to the fans.
But you know, they ought to take the King back to the garage here and something better than a record.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's not a good way to end a career that has been so great. Now here's the crash. That's Trickle.
Ooh,
look at Dallenbach get bumped around.
And there's Richard Petty going in and hitting Darrell Waltrip. Looks like the rest of these cars able to slow down without too much trouble. And Richard driving down to the fire truck, like he said. There's an oil cooler up there, as I said, right behind the left front fender. That was the hood I saw going up in the air. That
was that your eye level?
Yeah, right when the crash started.
Came off of Schrader's car, did it?
Not sure. I think so, yes.
Well, it almost blocked the track there for a moment.
I would guess that someone came off the corner on the outside of another car, and the fellow didn't know he was there. Made contact. And I don't.
6 cars involved in the crash, and it's going to take a while to clean it up because there are a lot of damaged race cars and a lot of debris on the racetrack. It comes on lap number 96 of the Hooters 500 here in Atlanta.